looks better.
Yeah, we've done a lot on the site. We've got like the meet our team. So now we've gone to we went and got we used AI for so we could get some professional images. Some of them, the guys, the original stuff that was generated was not good because they didn't provide like Wes did not provide any pictures of him smiling. And so he looked either like some like hitman or somebody that was trying to be like some Adonis model or something. It was always like this really serious look that was sort of looks like some sort of muscly pose or something. But um, yeah, so we've been building out on all of that stuff. Um, Sort of like probably we'll do I guess a soft launch of some of that stuff in the very near future. Probably like this week, I'm going to actually send you some stuff and say, hey, I want you to take a look at this. um, and Natalie and a couple others to get some feedback. But yeah, so I've been like, but those things I need to focus, especially if I'm using AI. That is one of the things. Did I hit record?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
did.
Okay. So hello everybody. Sorry. It's like I was totally. I said I should record and then I forgot to say hello. So hola everybody.
So what AI tool did you use?
I've been using. I haven't I've been using ChatGPT and I've been bouncing around between 5 and 4 mini and then or 4.5 mini. I can't remember. There's like two or three of them I bounce around with. And I've basically gotten really good stuff for what I want because from the coding side, because it's really, um, I know the code. And so it's basically, and I know like in detail what I want. So I can sit there and say, take this div, like if you're looking at the RB site, I will take any one of those. Actually, let me just share this because then I'm like, people are like, well, hey, I've never gone to the RB site. You guys should. You guys should have it memorized by now. I mean, let's face it. Um, let's see. So if I share this out, where's Zoom again? And I'm going to share it. Well, this is all new. I don't think we've shared stuff very often here. So now, whoops, I should hit the share button. Okay, so if I go to this guy, so this is the app I was telling you about. That's like, granted, I knew what I was doing, but cranked out this little survey app in like, not a lot of time and have done a lot of most of that time has been like tweaking stuff and things like that to make it look better. But and the way I've been doing, oops, that's not the one I want. I want to go back to this one so I can go to the site. So for example, like I took this as a section. I took the section of code and I said, okay, and I had to play with it a little bit because there's so many, because I've got all these past projects. I've got too much content. But what I basically do is say, all right, take this description, which was something I had in a completely different format. And I said, I want to do it. I want to take this. I want it to be, describe it. It needs to be professional. I want it to be in a carousel. I want it to use, I said, go ahead and make it a modern look and feel. And it's like, so use Tailwind as the main, style. And then went through a couple iterations and got to it. And I've been able to do it with like all of these as well, where it's like, hey, give me something that is like in a card format, or even like this one. I just took all the text and I said, okay, well, give me something. I want the image on the right, and then give me the text on the left. Give me some decent buttons. I'm like all this stuff. It's like I'll just take it as a section, and so it's not huge. It's not something that blows up ChatGPT, and then it can give me something back that then I can basically go in and plug it into my page and then check it out. And if I like it, great. If I don't, then I can make some tweaks, or I'll send it back sometimes and I'll be like, hey, take this, and because it's easier to do it that way than it is for me to crawl through the code sometimes. So it'll be things like, okay, take this, but I want you to, you know, change up the fonts, make this a little darker, add some highlights to stuff. So things like the menu, where it's just like, highlight the menu items a little bit better. Those kinds of things, like move this over here, move that over there. Those things, it's just like it'll just crank through them for me. So I've become more and more a fan of using AI with development for this stuff, particularly these kinds of things, because it's just like it's one of those. I started everything, because I've used Bootstrap for so long. I was using Bootstrap for all this, and I said, you know what? Actually, when I built the assessment tool, Originally I was like, I want to build a Node React application. I've built a couple, but I was like, I want to go ahead and do that. And then the more I thought about it, that's when I was, and so I built it out and had like 4 or 5 pages and some stuff, had some basic stuff. And then I'm like, you know what? I've done a Node app, I've done a React app. I want to change this around because I was doing it for something else. I was like, okay, make it Flask, and then I was like, start playing around with that. I was like Flask and straight HTML, and then I was like Flask and Bootstrap, and then I'm like Flask and let's do Tailwind. And I started liking what I was doing, seeing with the Tailwind. So I was like, cool, let's just go ahead and do that. And then I can take stuff like the content, and just say, take this content and make it flow with this style, so that I don't have to go through and do all of the line feeds and the divs and all that kind of stuff. As I can like, and I pulled it out. Some of this stuff I've pulled off of especially the RB site. This is bonus material, everybody. Sorry, I'm getting in it for him. I took the website that is the RB website that was all the WordPress stuff, because everything was a page or a post in WordPress before. And I started grabbing those pages and I could pull the source out of that and say, take this and clean it up. Like, get the WordPress crap out of it and give me just a sleeker design that's roughly this, layout. It didn't get, usually it gave me something that was a very vanilla layout. But the nice thing is it could just go through and take the content, have a general layout, blow away all the extra crap that WordPress had for all of its styles and all of its stuff. And now suddenly I've got, essentially an HTML file that now I can work with and I can put wherever I want to put it. So, this is the stuff where I'm like, all right, I'm going to embrace, and it makes mistakes. I will guarantee, like, I constantly have to go back and like, okay, I think I've got roughly it. Now I got to look back and what it generated, because it will do all kinds of weird stuff. The app itself was really tough because it would just periodically, because I was like, here's the API, or essentially here's all of the endpoints, and here's what I want to do. And periodically it would rewrite links in the page it was like, oh, you probably want this different API name. So it would just do that. And I'd be sitting there, I'm like, I never did that. Don't change it. I'd be like, change only this. And it doesn't pay attention. So that
So
is my
I'll,
bonus for today.
I'll tell you a trick on fixing that because I've run into that a few times. What I'll do is I'll take the last good page and I'll say, let's reset to this page. And it resets the memory to that. And typically I won't have that particular problem again, probably for the rest of that session.
I've had that a couple times where I'll say, I did this earlier, as I said, take this menu and make it look like this menu in this style, because I want them to be, it's like, cool. Because I knew there was a lot of just crap to do. So it spit something out. I'm like, okay, pretty good. And then later I took it and I said, because I was making some changes to it. So I took the menu that I'd been doing and I took that and I dropped it in there and I said, take this and do whatever the conversions were that I wanted to do with it. And it kicked it back and it rewrote all of the menu items to some prior menu. And I was like, you gave it to me right the first time. Why are you giving me this thing with all of these menu items changed? And it was just like, so that's AI. But yeah, like focus, like being able to sit there, particularly now that I'm doing some of it, like, getting back into some of this stuff and using like an AI thing or something. So it's very much in that context. And I'm sitting in that mindset of I can throw something over in like Chat GPT. Like I said, it's done pretty good, but I think I want to get myself and go play around with Gemini for a while and do that one and just see how much, because that's supposed to be a little better for code. But just have that open so I can be sitting there. And I know that like all of these other tools are out there to do that kind of stuff, to sit there and guide you with them. I just haven't embraced all of them yet. I'm trying to figure out what I like and what I don't like. So I'm going to give them some burn-in times, but this has worked well. And being focused, so I can sit there and I can like focus on, be not multitasking, write my code, working on my app, working on my functionality. And then I've got, AI will be sitting there. So I'll just be like, hey, take this and do that. Hey, take this and do that. And then I get myself to a stopping point too, which is very key. Is that like, then it's like, okay, stopping point, commit my changes, do my updates, whatever I need to do. This is really important with like some of the stuff you and I have been working on. Is there's been too many times that I would do it, get pulled away, and then come back later and think I'd gotten something done, but I hadn't done it. And then you go back and you look at it and you're like, I thought I did that. And it's like, oh, I guess I didn't finish that out, or I had it commented. It's just focus, focus, focus. That's my rant. And now we're
I will throw one little tidbit in, and we'll skip the bonus at the end of this one because we kind of went long on this one. But Code Weavers is one I've been playing around with Chase, and it works really well with IntelliJ, and I think it works with Visual Code. Um, it's as good, but it's actually been a little bit better at times than what I've seen for ChatGPT and Claude. So it might be another one to kind of look at that is already apparently integrated in with IntelliJ.
yeah, I think that's the one they've I'm not sure if that's the same one they did with PyCharm. I played around with it for a little bit, and I can't remember. I think that is the one because I think it was all of the JetBrain tools they did that, and I just wasn't. I was getting better results, and I think it's because of some of how I've set up my context. I was getting better results in ChatGPT than I was with that, and it's mostly because it was giving me too many options. It's like, well, you could do this, you could do this, you could do this, or here's the different ways you can do it. And I was just like, no, I had a very specific thing, and I don't know how much of it was me getting used to talking to that AI. Whisper was doing pretty good for a while, but it would suggest, but there was too many times that it would over suggest and I'd accidentally like hit a tab and all of a sudden, boom, I've got 400 lines of code that would have been great if that's what I wanted, but that's not what I wanted. So, um, yeah, but this is all important. I think a lot of it's going to be a personal thing, just like, people like Bing versus Google versus Internet Explorer or Yahoo back in the day, or all the different search engines. I think we're going to run through the same thing with the AI tools. So let me go to, did I have the old?
And I
Uh,
don't know if you saw the news, but AOL dial-up is finally dead.
is
They
it dead? Dead?
it off.
I thought they set the date was like coming up here that they're going to finally kill dial-up, which is amazing because I know there's got to be people still using it, but it's just amazing to think that they are. And maybe it is. Maybe there's only like 3 people actually affected by that. So, okay. So for the developerpreneur, building better developers.
If you could share it like you did last time, that was helpful.
Let's see, Building Better Developers podcast. Suggest let's do something like a fun and lively yet educational uh, episode with this topic. I'm going to get a little different this time. And the topic is focus and productivity experts. Wow, this is it. Jeez. Supercharge your focus and productivity expert tips for success. Wow, this was perfect bonus material. This is exactly how we came into it. All right, so let's see. It's a thinking. And this is on, what am I on? Am I on? I think I'm on the GPT-5 right now. Wow, it's thinking a lot on this one.
If I just been a little bit slower than the four,
That wouldn't be too surprising. Yeah, Natalie's been playing around with a lot. She's done a lot. She actually had ChatGPT tell her how to do a better job of like giving her images and stuff like that. So she was getting a lot. Okay, so this is gonna, wow, this is taking its time. Okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and get started and then we'll come back and I will throw it into Slack because let's see, let me get myself set
yeah.
up. Got this here. Let me get water. While I'm waiting for this, I'm gonna get my okay. Let's see. Did it actually finish while I was doing that? Oh, it did. Okay. So let's take, where is that? There we go. I'll just give the whole thing. I'll throw that over here. I'm going to throw this at you personally so it doesn't get into our other
Perfect.
bunch of crap. Now I need to get back over here. Okay. Let me get that. Ooh, let me do it this way. Let me move him over here so I can even read him better. Adjust my extra monitor there. Let's do this. Yeah, I'm tall enough. There we go. Can you hear me okay? Is this all good audio wise?
Yeah, I'm maxed, so it should be fine.
Okay, I just want to make sure because yeah, I can switch to other stuff, but if this works and it's not, there's no problems, then I will do this. Let's see, I'll get this so I can center my head properly, my big fat head, and we're gonna do the tres, dos, uno. Well, hello and welcome back. We are continuing our season where we are talking about actually past topics. We're going to do it with AI. So we're going to throw it back through ChatGPT, basically say, hey, tell us what we should have done. And then we're basically going to assess whether AI does a better job than we do, or we're going to allow you to do so. First off, I need to introduce myself. My name is Rob Broadhead. Have I actually introduced I don't think I said the name of the podcast. So let me get back to that. We'll rerun. This is Developreneur, Building Better Developers. This is season, I don't know what it is. Lost track of the number of episodes. Now we can go forward to me. My name is Rob Broadhead. I'm one of the founders of Developreneur, also the founder of RB Consulting, where we help you do technology better. We sit down with you, walk through your business, your organization, talk about where you're at, where you want to go, and then what is your technology path to get there. We're going to help you do a technology assessment. We're going to get out there with you and help you build a technology roadmap. We can help you implement it. We can let you implement it. There's a lot of different ways things you can work with you. So you can have existing technology, or you may need some new stuff. So we may need to simplify. We may need to integrate. We may need to automate. We may need to innovate. All of those are totally accessible to you wherever your organization is. I think that's one of the biggest messages we need to have is as long as you sit down and understand your processes, there are tools that will help you get those done faster and better, and they are affordable. You can find stuff that works within your budget. You don't have to spend $1 billion to have a really good technology footprint that meets the needs of your business. Good things and bad things. Let's see. Bad thing, I'll start with the bad thing. I guess there's a good side of this too. Bad thing is I had a dental appointment. I was going to go to the dentist. I ended up 10 minutes late. They sat there and like had me sit there for 10 more minutes. And the next thing they're like, oh, it's too late. We can't take you today. I need you to reschedule. So the bad thing is I wasted probably an hour of time going back and forth to the dentist to only have to make sure I get there much earlier next time around. The good news is I had too much crap to do anyways, so I really did not need to lose the extra. Yeah, I probably would have lost another hour and a half or 2 hours if I dealt with the dentist. So there is a little silver cloud or a silver lining to that big black storm cloud. The other silver lining is that I've got somebody on the other side that's going to introduce himself. Michael, go for it.
Hey everyone, my name is Michael Meloche. I'm one of the co-founders of Building Better Developers, also known as Developreneur. I'm also the founder and owner of Envision QA, where we help startups and growing companies build better software faster and with fewer problems. Our services cover software development, quality assurance, test automation, and release support. Companies come to us when they want to avoid delays, reduce bugs, and launch with confidence. Whether you're building your first MVP or scaling a live project, we help make sure that your software is reliable, efficient, and ready for growth. You can learn more about us at envisionqa.com. Let's see, good thing, bad thing. Had a whole lot of bad and a little bit of good. Bad just compounded this week. So at our other house, we go out and we're there for an hour, and all of a sudden we go from having water pressure to no water pressure. Wife thinks I didn't pay the water bill, which can happen because it's on auto pay and sometimes it doesn't go through. No, we had a busted water line under the ground somewhere and had no water getting into the house. Waited for the plumber to come out. They couldn't come out that day, so we had to reschedule the next day. Next day they came out. They found the leak, fixed it. Next day, oops, another leak. So long story short, we had to replace all the lines from the street to the house. So after paying for a leak fix, we had to pay for new lines. So that was very costly, painful, and frustrating. On top of that, we lost our AC at the other house the night before they came out to replace the lines. So that was a lot of fun having to be at two different places at once with housing issues. Being a house owner just it is fun. Good news, it's all fixed. Knock on wood. Everything's working good. Air's back. Water's running well. So things are happy again. And I pray it's going to be good and quiet for a while. So able to focus and get back to work.
So we're going to focus now on, which is funny enough, our title that we've brought from a couple seasons back. The original title was Supercharge Your Focus and Productivity, the dev's guide to getting stuff done without, wait, is that? I'm sorry. Original one was Supercharge Your Focus and Productivity, Expert Tips for Success. This one just jumped right in and said, here you go. And they redid our title, and it says Supercharge Your Focus and Productivity, the dev's guide to getting stuff done without burning out. So it added a little bit. Opening hook. Ever feel like your coding day disappears into meetings, Slack pings, and random rabbit holes? Yes. Today, we're putting your productivity on performance enhancing code without the side effects. That's a little bit different, but okay. I don't like their wording, but hey, it's AI. Episode flow, setting the stage. First one, 2 to 3 minutes. Relatable dev life scenario, jumping between bug fixes, PR reviews, trying to learn a new framework, all while email notifications keep chiming. Why focus is harder now than ever. Context switching costs, remote work distractions, dopamine traps from social media. Let's jump into this is right on our attack. So we're going to go right into the second one. Expert tips for laser focus. The Pomodoro Remix, 25-minute sprints with a developer twist. Breaks for code refactor notes, tech reading, or even a quick GitHub browse. Digital fences using tools like cold turkey, focus at will, or even do not disturb mode for uninterrupted blocks. Morning energy mapping. Tackle your most challenging code problems during your peak brain hours. These three, I want to... they really work together. I'm just going to start with that. The Pomodoro Remix it talks about, I have really just fallen in love with a Pomodoro technique that I use. I've shifted it. So I usually do 45 minutes. I have Brain FM that I will set for 45 minutes, depending on what my task is. So I will put the headphones on and I will let it give me its nice little, thought producing music. And I have found that it is very, very, very productive to do so. I can take 45 minutes of that and probably get done what it would normally take me 2 hours to do. And a lot of it goes to the other thing is like the distractions. Because part of what I've gotten that I've done to do and when going through these things is I will sit down and I will I will turn off everything, turn off notifications. I make sure mail is not up. I'll turn off notifications so Slack doesn't hit me. Now, when I turn them back on, yes, I get blown up sometimes with stuff. But during that time, I can be very effective. One of the things that I'm playing around with actually in the next little bit is just checking my productivity biorhythm. I've got a certain schedule that I use, but I'm going to start playing around with that a little bit, probably from week to week. And so go test it for a week and see how I feel and test it slightly different. Because I'm trying to figure out like really where are my peak and then where are like my mid-range peaks. And then I sort of know where I typically drop off. But I'm thinking as I've been making some adjustments and able to have more control over my schedule and what I'm working on and when, definitely something worth playing around with. And I recommend that to everybody is I think that laser focus that they said at the top of this section is, I think, the key to your greatest success. What about you, Michael?
Yeah, so you're a big fan of the Pomodoro. I work well with it, but I tend to work a little bit better in longer kind of sprints of time. So I typically go to the note approach. So I'll write down the tasks I want to get done, or I kind of preload my calendar for here. I want to get this done, this done, this done within those timeframes. But with like you, I keep all the other notifications turned off. So I'm not getting emails or distractions unless it's like emergency. I think that's the only thing that comes in is like if it's certain family members can get in unless they beg me too much and then they get blocked. Um, but what I've really been focusing on a lot, especially since the last GLS summit, is the morning energy mapping or mapping, like finding that peak time of the day when you're mentally focused. For me, ironically, it used to be late in the evening. Like I would do really well first thing in the morning, and then like about I'd say 5, 6 o'clock at night till whenever in the AM, I would be wired. I would be going great, and then the next morning, like I would have no energy. Um, but lately, I found that I have really strong energy in the morning, and then it's more about midday is when I start to taper a little bit, and then at night I could still have a peak or valley. Just kind of depends on how the workday went. So with that, I've been playing around with getting up earlier. So like today, and I don't recommend this for everyone, but I had fallen a little bit behind this week because of the said bad things that happened, kind of set off my schedule this week. So I got up at 3 o'clock this morning. I'm like, let's see how well I really do if I cut my sleep time a little short, not ideal, but let's really try to reset my day. And from like 3 o'clock to 8 o'clock, I was just hyper focused, no distractions, no noise. I mean, it's just peace of quiet nighttime. I got a whole lot done. And then once day started, I started getting all those calls and meetings, and then like my energy just tapered off, and then it started coming back up again about hour or two ago. But it's kind of going through those waves, and it's listening to your body, but sometimes you have to force your body into a different routine. So if you do see yourself doing better in the morning, wake up a little bit earlier. Maybe go to bed a little bit earlier or go to bed a little bit later. Adjust a little bit. You may have a couple of days where you're a little bit of a fog or you kind of jet lagged a little bit, but I recommend it. Might be better to try it on a weekend to get yourself reset, but give it a shot because I've really found that you don't know, and it does change. Like there will be times where I am definitely a night person. Like my mornings, it's like no, I need a pot of coffee before I can get going. So that's my thoughts.
I agree. I think it's something that like I know that I was the same way for a long time. My peak period was 10 p.m. till about 3 a.m., something like that. And then there was also like I think like late morning maybe. It's still sort of a early to mid morning, but then I sort of like, yeah, I sort of valley out and then I'll come back up in the late afternoon. It's something that changed over time. So definitely, take a look at it and like Michael said, you got to give it time to settle in because if you just do it for like 2 days, your body's not going to adjust and it's not going to help. You've got to give it, several days to do it. Moving along, productivity hacks you haven't tried yet. Single tab coding, one browser tab, one task, no quick Stack Overflow detours unless truly stuck. Micro deadlines, break stories into tiny deliverables that keep momentum high. Code music playlists using rhythm and tempo to match your task type. Fast beats for debugging, lo-fi for deep architecture work. This is, I'll go backwards on that. So the code music playlist, that is exactly why I found BrainFN has worked really well. There is different focus types and stuff like that. I think one is like there's a motivation, there's a artistic, there's a deep thought, there's all these different playlists that they've got. And I have found that I play around with them a little bit, like what I play when, but have definitely found that they are useful to me. Again, it helps block out other stuff, but helps keep me sort of like in a little bit of a rhythm and a little bit of a like, especially it's just like it breaks the monotony of stuff. I love micro deadlines. I didn't know that that's what they were, but I really do like sitting down and saying, okay, this is my schedule for today. During this block, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to focus on. It's a little bit, as you mentioned about having that list, is it's basically like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. All right. And I'll do it. I'll write out, here's my list of stuff I got to do today. Here's the time I want to put sort of to each of them, because now I'm having to account for that stuff and make sure that I'm balancing stuff out. And then beside all of those, then I'll go back and be like, okay, I got a half hour for this. So this is my key focus, or I've got an hour for this. So this is my key focus. So it gives me these little like micro, these little milestones or deadlines. The bonus with those is if I get one done faster than whatever that time allotment is, is then I can either, if I need to, I can have a little bit of a break, but usually what's going to happen is instead, I'm going to save that. I'm going to be able to put that to something that I'm more worried about. And if I get, as I get towards the end of the day, one of my like midday breaks that I'll have is I'll say like, okay, if I've got plenty of space left, then I can add stuff onto my list. And if not, then it's like, okay, well, I'll just, somewhere along the way, maybe I get one thing done sooner, but then I can shift a little bit of time to something else, later. So it does allow me to sort of keep in my rhythm while still getting some stuff done. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I liked how you started with the music, the code music playlist. I've got a couple different things I use. Once I turn off the notifications, you kind of get it quiet, you start to hear other noises going on around you. Interestingly enough, with the Mac, they added something one or two updates back. You can actually turn on background noise. So if you hit the little button, it'll turn on like white noise or like rain or fire or just kind of enough of a white noise to block out all the other noises that are around you, which is kind of cool. But sometimes you need a little bit more than that. So I'll like use like Code Focus, on like Microsoft or not Mac Music, Apple Music to just like do focus like classical music, or sometimes they have white noise or like spa music. Spa music I find is actually good, but it can be too relaxing and can put you to sleep. So you got to find the right tempo uh, of music or white noise to listen to that doesn't put you to sleep, but can at least block out or keep you focused on what you're working on. Single tab coding is probably one of my biggest favorites and probably one of my biggest pet peeves about the way modern IDEs have gone. I'm calling you out, IntelliJ. I don't like the fact that you have to open up multiple windows for multiple projects, and you can't have one project window with a file manager where you can just open up your one file for this project. Instead, I have to go manage all these multiple IDEs to go to this tab to do code. I like one thing simple. Give me one IDE. Yes, maybe a couple tabs, but you're only working one tab at a time. And then, okay, you can jump to the code you need to go to. And if the browsers or the tools you have allow you to seamlessly follow your flow of what you're working on, perfect, go with it, because it's going to keep you from getting too distracted of, oh, what's this? If you can like hit control, click what you're going, and it jumps you to the next place of code, you're on that path. You're working through that logic, you're following that bug, you're on task. But if you're having to go control shift R, look for a word, you're going down the rabbit hole, because you could be in many different places, you don't know where you're going. So by keeping you consolidated to one browser, one task, it helps you avoid that multitasking. It may also help your system performance, and then you're going to get more work done.
I think that, yeah, I will just say that, yeah, I don't think the purpose is to have multiple projects in one thing anyway. So you're supposed to be like focused on your one project. But I agree 100%. It's like, if you start having to click around to find what you're working on, that's definitely going to slow you down. So, next one, preventing burnout while staying productive. How rest improves code quality. The 90% rule. Leave a little juice in the tank each day so tomorrow isn't a struggle. The role of hobbies and side projects in keeping your brain fresh. And we're actually going to get through all of them this time, I think. So I want to roll those into something that I've found that is very useful. It goes back to this little bit of scheduling your time. Is schedule breaks, is schedule things that get you away from what you're doing. Now, if you're like me and you're trying to avoid checking your mail, like when you get to the end of a break, checking your mail or going off and reading some site for a little bit or something like that during your breaks, especially because I'll do a little bit of a longer break. Instead of doing like little 5-minute breaks, I'll do a 15-minute break, which is easily enough time to get yourself lost in some rabbit hole. Find a secondary thing that you want to work on, whether it's things like you get to your break and you're going to like, go pay some bills, or you're going to like, I have these little like side projects that I'm working on. It's like, okay, I'm working on this, but now I'm going to go work on this thing, or I'm going to maybe I'm writing a blog article, or I'm writing some content for something. or I'm going to go, review something somebody else did. So it's that change of mentality, that change of your focus. And it also allows you to just like reset a little bit. But then I think during the day, one of the things I've gotten away from, but worked best for me in the past, was have a set like lunch break. At the time, it was like I would work until, because of how my rhythms worked, I'd work till 11 a.m. and I'd basically kick back in at 1 p.m. So I'd have like this 2 hour lunch break where I would eat. I could go exercise, depending on the day of the week. Almost every day I would spend 10 or 15 minutes reading something that was not fiction, but I would always do something that was educational. So it would be like, biography of somebody, or how to be, better as a leader or a manager or something like that. So, self-improvement kind of books, or like, we've mentioned many times, like 4 Hour Work Week or those kinds of books. Because it just allowed me to really shift gears. It allowed me to rest. Doing like a walk or exercise, or something like that, got me away. It helped me from a healthy point of view, and it helped me come back more recharged. So definitely think about those kinds of things. We've talked so many times about if you get stuck, stand up, walk away. But I think we need to make sure that we pace ourselves with that as well. It's too easy to say, all right, I'm going to go, bam, I'm going to go 4 hours straight. And that's not the most productive way to do things. You need to make sure that you're putting those breaks in there so that you can recharge, even if you don't. And this is that 90% rule, basically. It's just like sports. If you go hard and now you're done, you go to 100%, that means you have nothing left. So if you're going to do all that, then what you want to do instead is have a little bit left in the tank, use that, recharge, and now you can come back even stronger. Thoughts on that one?
Yeah, so this one brings to mind, I think something someone said at the GLS, but um, if you are running into situations where you're not following the Pomodoro, you're constantly focusing on one task, you're giving it that 100%. Look at one, kick back to 90%, but two, look at what your day looks like. Look at not just your tasks, but what are you doing during the day? Because one of the biggest indicators that I found that this was a great example of was I would start my day off, I would get my coffee, I would open up my digital newspaper, and I would read some of the daily headlines, which lately has been all negative. So you kind of start your day off with that mindset, and then you go into work. Oh, now you read your work emails, and those could put you in a different mindset. Watch your mindset, because if you're finding out that the tasks you're doing are basically very negative or very repetitive in a way that is putting you off on being productive, shift that around, change up that your way of doing things. The other thing is, preventing burnout is hard. You have to also check yourself mentally and just see where you're at. You got apps for that. There are things you can do where, or just set reminders at certain times of the day. Check yourself. How do I feel right now? What have I done since I started my day? And what is good and what is bad. And then the other thing at the end of the day, people talk about journaling and things like that, but write down at the end of the day, what is the most pressing thing that is still to be done that you need to do first thing tomorrow? So basically start your day for tomorrow, set yourself up for success so that when you start the day, the next day, you're not like, what am I working? Nope, I need to get this done, get this off my plate, get it done, and start fresh. Just these few little tricks here will help you avoid the mindset. And the biggest one, turn your phone off when you are done working for the day. Lock it up. Put your technology away. If you find yourself pacing and you are touching that phone at least once or twice an hour, put it in another room. I admit I've caught myself doing that, and I'm trying to do the digital fast when I check out at night and just do something else. But I will tell you, it is hard being developers. I touch that phone probably 2 to 3 times every half hour after I check out. Sometimes more if I'm playing games, but it's a crutch. Turn it off. Walk away from it. Take those walks. Do something else, and just make sure that what you're doing isn't in that same kind of avenue. So you take a break from what is stressing you and do something that is not the same thing, just doing something else.
It's very freeing once you can get past that. It is, but it's like it's very, we've talked so much about like you making the most of your time. So it's very easy to be sitting there where you've got 2 or 3 minutes of dead time or something where you're waiting on something. You're just like, oh, I'm going to check my mail. Getting out of that habit will help you immensely. And it'll be tougher in this modern world because if you're like me, you'll sit there and you're like, you'll go to a restaurant and you don't have your phone with you or you're not pulling it out. Everybody else has their phone out. It's like you're sitting there waiting for, the food to come and everybody else is pulling out their phone. And there's just like that, hey, why don't you join the crowd? It's like, don't fight it. Trust me, it is worth it. And this is from, I'm still struggling with it. So it's not like I've mastered this, but I have had moments where it's worked and I've been very happy. So want to keep working on that. Just like I'd let you guys know every single episode, shoot us an email at info@developreneur.com. Actually, I had a great conversation today with somebody. He's like, hey, how's the best way to get a hold of you? It's like, you know what? Info@developreneur.com. That is the best place to get a hold of us. You can also leave us a review anywhere you see it, whether it's out on the Developreneur channel on YouTube, out wherever you're getting this podcast. If you're listening to podcasts, developreneur.com itself, you can go out there. You can leave feedback on any of our articles. You can contact us. We've got a form there. You can check out our Developreneur page on Facebook. You name it, out on X @Developreneur. Shoot something out there. Send something with that and we will find it and we will be more than happy to say thank you and respond if you have any questions or anything like that. We're always looking for feedback because you're the reason we're doing this. That being said, it's time to wrap this one up. So we're going to get back on our little merry AI way. You do the same. Go out there and have yourself a great day, a great week, and we will talk to you next time. No bonus this time. So we're just going to wrap this sucker up. You guys, we will be back soon enough. Before you know it, for us, it's literally going to be before we know it, basically. So have a good one.